I wonder if I'm gonna get murdered. Slaughtered. Hey guys, you are now entangled with Bree and Jo. I am Bree.
And I'm Jo.
And today we are going to talk about our favorite true crime stories. Dun dun dun. Yeah.
We like this.
We do like this.
We're twisty, so.
We're a little bit obsessed with it. I feel like I'm one of those people that loves docuseries on true crime, podcasts on true crime, YouTube videos on true crime. Like, just give it to me. I want to hear about it. I want to analyze it in my mind. I want to know how they died, what happened, make predictions.
Do you like cold cases or missing persons or?
I like serial killers.
Strong answer.
I feel like it's kind of embarrassing because you could be driving in your car listening intensely to something gory and then look at the person next to you in the car with your window rolled down and they're just like...
That makes me happy that I'm deaf in one ear because that's never happened to me. I've never been able to hear unless they're like bumping some rap music, but...
Yeah.
You must really block. Well, you have a good system.
I'm kind of deaf too, so I like to listen to things loud. Okay, so today I decided I was going to talk about, I was really wanting to talk about Elisa Lam, and I'm not sure if you guys have heard about her. Okay, that's my dog. That's Wade.
They know Wade.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does this once like every other episode.
So basically, Elisa Lam is one of my favorite mysteries, true crime murders that I just love to, I love to hate to hear about it because I don't know what happened to her. It makes absolutely no sense what happened to her, and I don't feel like we're ever gonna know. So
I think with this one, we might not. Like, even with all the advances in DNA and the technology, it's crazy because we really are solving 30, 40, 50-year-old cases, and it's pretty awesome. But this one, I don't know.
So Elisa Lam was a 21-year-old, and her parents immigrated from Hong Kong to Canada, and they own their own restaurant. And basically, from what I understood, is she took buses and Amtraks all the time by herself. And she was studying at the University of British Columbia in Canada. So Elisa Lam was suffering with bipolar and depression. And she was on several different kinds of medication, including Wellbutrin, Lamictal, Seroquel, and Effexor. I'm on Effexor for anxiety, so... She was on a lot of antidepressant type drugs for
her conditions.
Yes.
Just a quick question for you. Do you think, was there anywhere in your research, had that have any effect, or was it prescribed by a doctor so she was safe taking them?
I didn't research that, to be honest with you. I just know that she was.
But they were prescribed.
They were prescribed to her, and she was on several different kinds of medication for her depression and bipolar disorder. So I guess she would travel a lot by herself. So obviously she was functioning normal enough in today's society. So she decided to take a trip to Los Angeles from Canada. And she would call and check in with her parents every day. And she was staying at this old hotel in Los Angeles. And it was called the Cecil Hotel, or Cecile Hotel. I'm not really sure how to pronounce it, but I guess it was this really creepy old hotel in Los Angeles. And we'll go into that later or another time, but conspiracy theorists
totally
blame the hotel. But first, let me get to what actually happened. So she would check in with her parents every day. And the day that she was supposed to check out of the hotel, she did not check in with her parents.
Okay.
Let me see what dates that were. Let's see.
Did she go there specifically just to stay in that hotel, since it is kind of like a point of interest and tourist destination, or was she there for something else?
I'm not sure.
Neither was I.
To be honest. So an interesting fun fact is she was initially assigned a shared room on the hotel's 5th floor with a couple other people, but they complained to the hotel that she was exhibiting strange behavior, so they moved her to her own hotel room.
Really?
Yes.
Are you going to explain what the strange behavior is, or does it not?
It does not say.
Okay.
It just says that she was exhibiting odd behavior, so they switched her to her own hotel room.
Maybe she did that so she could get her own room.
Maybe.
That's kind of smart.
Maybe.
Well, that's something for us to think about when we travel.
So she was supposed to check out on January 1st, 2013.
Oh, weird. Like the brand new start of the new year.
Yeah.
She traveled by herself, stayed in this hotel on New Year's Day. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So she was supposed to check out and she didn't. So her parents got worried and notified the police. They did a search and she was gone. She vanished. They had search dogs. They searched the hotel. There was no trace of her. Nothing.
They did that all on the first day, or was this like over time?
This was the day she was supposed to check out.
Okay, so that day.
So I think it happened on that day, but throughout the course of several weeks, they were looking for her.
Several weeks?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So she was not only vanished for that day, she was gone for days.
Gone. And they put flyers of her face up on the neighborhood. And then this is where things get really bizarre. The last known appearance of her was the hotel video's elevator footage. So in this video, you can see her acting very, very, very strangely. Basically, she pushes all of the buttons in the elevator and the doors are completely opened, and she looks out the elevator and then hides behind the elevator door, almost as if she's shrinking back in fear, hiding from someone. And then she looks out the elevator, hides again, and does all of these weird hand movements, acting like she's talking to somebody.
And there's no one there in the video?
There's nobody in the video except for her. So we're going to watch this video really quick so I can show you what I'm talking about. So she's pushing the buttons, standing in the corner.
She looks
right now.
Fine,
she looks
fine.
Like,
totally.
Right now she does.
Yeah, but here it comes. Oh,
what is that? What is that? She's like shrinking and hiding in the corner.
She's not frantic. She's not.
No.
But then she's super like erratic right here.
She's looking out.
Well, that one wasn't as bad as the first one. Like, and it doesn't seem to be like with any urgency. It's almost like she's what?
She steps out of the elevator and she's creeping. Look.
No, okay, that
little hop. Like, what is this?
Look at her. Did you see how she her feet? She stepped apart and then together. It's kind of odd.
This is insane. And the doors are just open.
Yeah, they're just open.
They're just open in this elevator, and now she's outside of the elevator, and you can barely see her, but it looks like she's
either having her arms raised, or is this what her hand gestures that you think she's doing?
No, not yet. Wait for it.
What are they doing?
So she steps back into the elevator. She's pushing buttons. Buttons.
I mean, she's doing that with purpose.
Yeah. And there has to be some sort of, the elevator must be broken or something, because it's not, you would think there would be alarms going off or something. The doors are stuck open.
Well, unless she...
Now, doesn't it look, what is she doing with her hands? Looks like she's petting an invisible animal. She's talking very animated with her hands. I don't know.
She's casting a spell, warding off something. Seriously, because one of my theories that I heard about the paranormal theory, so maybe she's seeing something that isn't quite there.
Yeah, so that's the video. And that is the last known footage of Elisa Lam. And many people have theories that she had a psychotic break.
That honestly, to me, looks like a drug reaction. because
that's another theory. She's on drugs. Like, she's hallucinating.
Yeah.
Something weird is happening. Another theory is that the video is tampered with and that she's talking to someone. But there's, like, the video is tampered with, so there's no one in the video, but in real life there was someone there.
Sure.
That's another theory. A theory is that someone was stalking her, and it looks like she's hiding from them.
But she never made any type of complaints to the hotel or, like, text to friends, like, nothing. There was just nothing.
No. Yeah. The police did a search of the hotel. Even dogs sniffed around for her. There was no sign of her. And so her family was just devastated. Like, where did Elisa go? Where did she go? Like, what happened to her? And all they had was this very creepy video.
Yeah, if I was
surveillance footage.
If I was a friend or a sister of her and saw that, yeah, I mean, that's so disturbing.
It's so disturbing, and it gets worse. So, about a week or so, or two, let me see what exact date after.
Yeah, that's important. I want to know too. You guys will understand why.
Okay, so that video was actually released on February 15th, and she had gone missing the 1st. Right? So February 15th was when the video was released.
Okay. And they don't know anything, right? Obviously at that time?
It says on February 15th, after another week with no sign of her, the LAPD released a video of the last known sighting of her taken in one of Cecile's elevators by a video surveillance camera. On February 1st, it drew worldwide interest in a case due to Lam's strange behavior and has been extensively analyzed and discussed. So, during the search for Lam, over the course of several weeks, the guests at the hotel started complaining that their water pressure in their hotel rooms was weird.
The water pressure?
Yes. And some guests started complaining that their water was tasting foul. And it even came out of the faucet in some rooms black.
Black?
Mm-hmm.
What?
So, the hotel discovered her body in the water tank on the roof of the hotel.
That's vile.
So these guests were drinking,
showering, brushing their teeth
in her decomposing body's juice. So, how messed up is that?
It's extremely messed up. I mean, that would honestly, for the guests that were probably there, like finding that out, I could imagine there would be some trauma. Like thinking about that, and then not to mention, there has to be some like lawsuits, some major things against that hotel or something from guests. Like, come on, you just can't drink corpse dead body water.
I know. And so I'm just going to read this so that you know exactly what happened. So during the search for Lam, guests at the hotel began complaining about low water pressure. Some later claimed their water was colored black and had an unusual taste. On the morning of February 19th, Lam's body was found in one of 4 1,000-gallon tanks, providing water to guest rooms, a kitchen, and a coffee shop.
Oh my goodness.
That's rancid. That is rancid.
Oh, no.
The tank was drained and cut open since its maintenance hatch was too small to accommodate equipment needed to remove Lam's body. Okay, so apparently she was found in this water tank naked with her room key and her watch, and she was bloated and green.
Well, yeah.
Partially decomposed, skin peeling off.
Was there any initial cause of death?
So, on February 21st, the Los Angeles Coroner's Office issued a finding of accidental drowning with bipolar disorder being a significant factor. Like, they are going to blame this on her bipolar disorder because that explains how she got in this freaking tank. So, okay, so...
Well, that person in the elevator, who knows? Maybe she...
But get this. Toxicology tests incomplete because not enough of her blood was preserved. So basically the toxicology test couldn't really say exactly what happened because she had been in the water too long. But there was traces consistent with prescription medicine found among her belongings, plus non-prescription drugs such as Sinutab and ibuprofen.
What's Do you know what Sinutab
is? I have no idea. I'm sure it's legal. Like it was non-prescription drugs, so over the counter.
Okay.
And a very small quantity of alcohol was present, but no recreational drugs that they could tell.
She wasn't on like...
But they, it's inconclusive because
if they can't even get her enough blood, you know what I mean, then they probably couldn't find any. That's just another avenue that we'll never know.
So doors and stairs that access the hotel's roof were locked, with only staff having passcodes to get in.
Okay, there you go.
And supposedly it would trigger an alarm if anyone tried to get up there. That wasn't staff. So, but the hotel has a fire escape that does have access to the roof. So people have wondered if she somehow got up there because of the fire escape.
That doesn't need a code.
I'm reading all of these facts that I have down. So it says, however, the hotel's fire escape could have allowed her to bypass those security measures if she or someone who might have accompanied her there had known. A video made by a Chinese user after Lam's death and posted to the internet showed that the hotel's roof was easily accessible via the fire escape and that 2 of the lids of the water tanks were opened. Apart from the question of how she got on the roof, others have asked if she could have gotten into the tank by herself. All 4 tanks are 4 by 8 foot cylinders propped up on concrete blocks. There is no fixed access to them, and hotel workers had to use a ladder to look at the water. They are protected by heavy lids that would be difficult to replace from within. Police dogs that searched through the hotel for Lam, even on the roof, shortly after her disappearance was noted, did not find any trace of her, although they had not searched the area near the water tanks. So...
yeah, don't blame the dogs. They messed that up. Dogs can sniff out cadavers' bodies in water, down in lakes.
It's just this whole thing, like, how did she get on the roof? Did someone who worked there help get her on the roof? How did she get into that tank by herself? Because supposedly the lids are so heavy.
2 were off. So she could have, but if the hotel staff needed a ladder, how could she just...
Well, no. When the person who posted the video, the lids were up. But I guess when they found her, the lids were down. And, like, how would she have... Like, I guess it's very heavy. I don't know. So...
Who knows?
Someone
knows.
Someone knows what happened to her. I think that she was murdered. That's my theory. I think that she was murdered and someone dumped her body in that tank. Part of me thinks that she might have done it herself, but that's so crazy to me to think that she had a psychotic break and just got naked on the roof and jumped into a water tank.
My hope is she wasn't murdered, obviously. And although suicide isn't, that's hideous too. However, I almost hope that she was medicated and maybe in such a fog or just some type of utter disillusionment that whatever she did, if she did do it to herself, that she didn't really know. I kind of hope she was just, on a field trip with the mind.
I don't know what happened to her. I feel like just based on that elevator video alone, it makes me wonder if she wasn't alone.
I know. We won't know. I mean, I'm sure it's silly to ask you if, obviously, if you're not a conspiracy theorist, obviously the hotel and the police would do their due diligence and vet and interview and obviously ascertain all the facts from the hotel staff. And
so anyway, I'm convinced that she either had a psychotic break or she was murdered, because I just feel like that video gives me the heebie-jeebies. It's not natural. It's not normal what she was doing.
She definitely was exhibiting.
Something was wrong.
Again, I hope it was option 2, and she was not a psychotic break, but just I hope she was just hallucinating, and she was in like a video game land where maybe it was happy to her, like kind of fun, because she didn't look. I guess when I first heard about it, because I listened to this case on a podcast, and so I didn't see the video. So it was all just like images conjured in my mind by what the podcast. And I guess when I heard about the elevator scene and her erratic behavior, I felt like there was more of a sense of urgency. Like she was running from something, and she was like, running around, getting in the elevator, hiding. But it was, you guys can see plain as day, playing foursquare basically with her feet when she steps out. She's very, her movements besides the hands.
Under the influence of something. Kind of
who knows?
Drug, or maybe she was having like a mental breakdown. Like, who knows?
I feel like, I don't know. I'm sure mental breakdowns are all different.
What do you guys think?
Yes, please.
What do you guys think happened to Elisa Lam?
And there's obviously a ton of stuff online. YouTube has a ton. I think Dayliner 2020 did a pretty decent one. Podcasts are always my favorite for true crime. They go way in depth. So I'm interested, because that is one we'll never know, and that bothers me. I do not like cold cases. No.
Well, what's the one that you want to tell me about?
I'm going to tell you about it.
She's going to tell me about it.
So, in the spirit of YouTube and all things spooky, my case is the case of the Slenderman stabbing. And for those of you that don't know, I would never have known this. I told her about it, and she's like, oh yeah, Slenderman. Like, just knew. So I'm going to read you guys who Slenderman is. The Slenderman is a fictional character created as an internet meme. It's a meme? Weird. Through a forum called Something Awful in 2009. Depicted as a very tall, very thin, faceless man in a black suit. He was developed through a thread on the forum, which asked users to edit everyday photographs to appear paranormal.
I've just always heard of Slenderman as like a boogeyman.
There's a lot of pictures. This was really creepy to me, so obviously I had to like jump on and figure who this creature was. He's spooky, but he's not terrifying. It's not like it. So anyways, but
yeah,
I
think he's creepy as hell.
He is creepy, but I don't know. You guys will have to look too, and I'm sure some of you will laugh, and some of you not happy thoughts about Slenderman. But for two young girls, especially in this culture that we have on YouTube, Slenderman had created kind of a cult following, if you will, like just fans, right? And that's what you'd call it. So Slenderman generated a ton of notoriety in everyday headlines. So Slenderman was heavily linked to a stabbing of a 12-year-old girl. Her name is Peyton Leutner. Is that how you'd say it?
Yeah.
She had been lured into the woods by two of her friends and stabbed 19 times and left for dead. Her two friends.
How old were they?
Sick. I think that they were all 12. That could be wrong. The facts I have right in front of me right now, they are now 17. So 2014.
Yeah. Jeez.
Anyways, yeah, a trio of 12-year-old girls. The reason for this, the two friends stabbed their friend Peyton all of those times to prove their loyalty to Slenderman. So I guess Slenderman would be the type of boogeyman, call it what you want, urban legend that you need to go commit these hideous crimes or do hideous things, and you get some type of, I don't know, you get invited to his make-believe mansion. One of the girls was absolutely convinced that by doing this to her friend, that she would have access to the secret Slenderman world and all that it entails. I'm not going to go into that. If you guys are interested, you can, but it's just,
So it was a human sacrifice to Slenderman.
Yeah. In hopes to gain his favor.
And they got caught, obviously.
Well, so the miraculous thing is Peyton is a fighter. This little girl was stabbed 19 times and she survived.
She lived.
She lived. She was able to get herself out onto a road out of where this happened, where the crime happened in the woods, and a motorist, I believe, found her. Someone found her, a very nice pedestrian, and got her medical attention immediately, and she lived. So,
oh my God!
Like, I mean, can you imagine
the trauma of knowing that your friends tried to kill you?
Well, the kind of the backstory on this is the three of them.
Slenderman?
Right, but think about that. I mean, think about I don't want to go on, too much of a rant about social media and the power that it holds. And I truly believe that kids especially get so enthralled that they really believe, they absolutely believe that this world, that there are these things. I mean, granted, my niece, she's 7, she's not 12. And I do not ever believe she would stab anyone or any creature or anything like that. However, you know how she can get with just absolutely taken with urban legends and just kind of spooky, scary culture, because it is fascinating. I mean, we grew up with things like scary stories to tell in the dark and, sitting around and talking and you doing your cat seances and whatnot. But these kids are attached to their devices and they're reading all of these things that they don't know if it's hyped up. I'm sure they can't really decipher what's real and not real. You would hope, but not.
But these girls truly believed that he was real, and that's what mattered. They convinced themselves that he was real to the point where they did something so
vile, hideous, horrific, unforgivable. But
they just went on living their lives like it was normal.
Yeah, they thought if they did not do this, I don't know which one of them came up with the idea that they had to commit this type of a crime, this atrocity to their friend. As a matter of fact, the three of them were together because the night before this happened, they all had a sleepover. The mother of one of the girls, who was one of the stabbers, they all slept at her house. And the mom made them all breakfast. They had a little girl, 12-year-old sleepover, and the next day they were gonna walk to the park or go for a walk. And they're 12, they're not 6. So mom let them walk. And the next thing, I'm sure I can't imagine being Peyton's parents, thinking that your little girl's going to hang out with her friends and, braid hair and make some cookies.
Are they in prison?
So one of the girls, who I believe is...
they're young. They're probably not charged as adults.
The crime was heinous. There was a lot of speculation on how to, and I know there's ever-changing types of, not laws necessarily, but I think it changes, with case by case in some instances. Oh, yeah. So that I know one of them is in absolutely, she's going to serve out her sentence in a mental institution because she is diagnosed schizophrenic. And she was the ringleader of this. The other girl, I think, was more kind of like the follower, and just what her friend said was law. She just took her friend face value, loyal, to an absolute sick fault.
Loyalty to the death, no pun intended.
You're creepy. You're just a creep. They were all 12 at the time I just saw that. So yes, the ringleader was found not guilty because she was mentally ill at the time of the attack. Her sentence is she is to be committed to a psychiatric hospital for 25 years.
Do you imagine being the girl that lived, though?
She is actually pretty miraculous. You guys can absolutely check it out on YouTube if you want the case that I listened to. I was very bothered by this, and just what you said. How do you kind of go on? This isn't even a random hideous human that does this, a stranger. Your friends. That's got to do whatever. But I don't really like the term kids are resilient because I think that's way too broad, and some are, some aren't, but whatever. I don't know how resilience can play in, but she has a super wonderful family. She has very supportive. She goes to a great school. Her classmates wrote her. They started this thing where they wrote a happy memory of her, or just something joyful, and it spread worldwide. This case got such attention that she would get very excited to go to her mailbox because kids from all over the world were sending cards and condolences and positive words of affirmation.
I wonder what she thinks of Slender Man if she was friends with these girls. Right? She probably...
She wasn't as into it. She wasn't as into it. That's why they chose her.
Wait.
Basically, I think that was the whole thing. And you guys can, again, please do your own research if you are interested. There's a bunch of stuff on there. But I wanted to end this one. You know, there's one unsolved that we'll probably never know. And mine is a crime of a happy ending, in a sense. She lived. She was doing well. So hopefully she continues on her journey of recovery. And you just got to just buy batshit. Like, just no more friends like that.
What do you guys think of Slender Man, and what stories have you connected with? Are you into true crime? Do you like unsolved mysteries, murders, serial killers, anything twisty like us? Slender Man, Elisa Lam.
I can't believe you knew Slender. Like, I thought I was excited to like tell you about it. You knew.
He's like the 21st century boogeyman. There's a movie about him. If you liked this video, make sure you hit like and subscribe below. And yeah, tell us what scares you. Are you afraid of the dark?